Welcome, friends and seekers. This is Lizzie B with Gwella Being. I am meeting you in the woods today at the end of summer, beginning of autumn, offering a contemplative, sort of guided meditation, but also manifestation, contemplation exercise that is pairing with the autumn equinox, the beginning of the lengthening of nights and shortening of days, the death portion of the life-death-life cycle. I'm offering a practice today that is meant to bring in some manifestation as the fall equinox is landing in new moon energy this year in 2025. So if bringing a journal or a pen and paper to your meditative or manifestation practices is part of your practice, I definitely encourage that today because we're doing a lot of inward and reflective thinking. So without further ado, I present to you Autumn Equinox. Let's begin by finding our way to a comfortable physical posture. Maybe sitting upright, maybe on a cushion or a bolster, maybe lying down, maybe even lying on your stomach if grounding during a practice is useful to you, especially practices we're going to take care and look inward and be gentle and kind to ourselves. So find your way to a comfortable physical posture for your body. Receive a breath. Release. Receive another breath. Release. Receive a breath and release with an audible ha. Again. This time release with a hoo. Hoo. Spirit of oneness, we know where one arrives in reverence is very real magic indeed. Today, we invite the visuals, the sounds, the scents, and the sensations, physically and energetically, of autumn. We know seasons, like all things, begin, thrive, struggle, thrive again, and end. And then begin, thrive, struggle, thrive, and end. We are entering shorter days, longer nights, the loss of many natural things around us. We understand that in losing the greens and the blues and the pale yellows and the bright, vivid colors of summer, that we gain In that loss, the hues of gold and copper and rust and shimmering shades of autumn. Receive a breath. Release. Take a moment to reflect on what it is that you energetically accomplished over the season past. Receive a breath. Release. Continue that breathing in knowing that the end of season past is not only a death, but also an opportunity for rebirth. Receive a breath. Release. Take a moment now to consider the unique scenario where the end of summer and beginning of autumn are being met by the energy of a new moon. So often we consider fall to be a time of complete loss, death to nature, shortening of the light. But I offer you here an opportunity to consider what is born and nourished in that darkness. What can we hold space for in those long nights, in those moments of coolness and of stillness, while so much is falling away and peeling away and dying and decaying and shortening and chilling? I want you to consider all of those dying elements and what purpose they serve. Surely, their death is not in vain. Nothing that occurs naturally occurs mistakenly. Every natural act is an intentional process. I invite you now to consider a manifestation, a challenge, a task, energetically, that has felt like too much to take on, or never the right time, or how could I begin this? How could I make this really happen? Any concept that has felt so to you. Perhaps mindful breathing, mindful boundaries, mindful assignment of tasks and time. Perhaps something as large as a dream you've been dreaming for decades. Perhaps something as small as writing a letter. Really take a moment here to consider such a task. Receive a breath. Hold that task in your mind's eye as if you have already accomplished it. Release. Receive a breath. Hold that visualization of that manifestation coming true, ignited by hues of orange and yellow and gold and copper, ablaze in activity. Release. Keeping in mind that this time of longer nights and shorter days is a space for rest and small, subtle, borderline lazy, discrete changes. Major change happening externally all around you is an invitation to go inward and consider what small steps you can give nourishment to in this time of death, so that you might, at the end of these cool, dark seasons, reap benefits of rebirth. Leaves are falling, and as they land and settle and decay, they slowly, so slowly, and gradually over time decay into source. They become source of nourishment for plants that will be born anew, for insects that will become butterflies, plants that will feed animals. All of that death is purposeful, and all of its rebirth intentional. I invite you here to consider this autumn equinox and this change of seasons, a shift in energy to produce and provide small, subtle change that, like in nature, is so intentional and meaningful and purposeful in its rebirth. Receive a breath. Release. Revisit the task that you had previously imagined in your mind's eye. the manifestation that you wish so badly to have time or strength or energy for. Revisit that concept. Release a breath, giving away any anxieties or powerless feelings that surround that idea. And on your next inhale, contemplate the smallest, most subtle way that you could not even take a step, but perhaps shift your energy towards achieving that goal. Maybe not even prepared to lift your foot or raise your hand or nod your head in the direction of that goal, but maybe, just maybe, in preparation, you could surrender your mind to the achievement of that manifestation. Receive a breath. Release. I invite you to hold this image of you completing that task. Maybe years from now, maybe tomorrow morning. But while holding that visualization, no matter how long it takes, if you hold space for that goal, that manifestation, if you hold space for it here in your heart and in your mind's eye, over these long, dark, chilly days ahead, taking small, subtle, energetic steps towards accepting it as reality. It is yours. It is your birthright. And if you will it, it will be so. Receive a breath. Release. Remembering here in the thinned, shortened spaces of autumn and under celestial guidance of a new moon, that all ends in their nature are truly just beginnings. Just the groundwork, the raw, organic groundwork for new beginnings. Allow that knowing to create comfort for you. Allow that knowing to reside within you. Keep that golden copper knowing with you always, and particularly throughout this autumn season. Receive a breath. Release. If you haven't already, maybe begin to wiggle your fingers or your toes, maybe fluttering your eyelashes open, maybe rocking back and forth on your hips, bringing gentle movement back to your body, waking back up. As we land gently and carefully back in reality, I invite you to follow this practice with words acts, thoughts of kindness and affirmation towards that manifestation. I am already tilling the soil. I am already planting the seeds. This season's end, at its core, is my next and greatest season's beginning. Perhaps taking a moment to journal your thoughts, your manifestations, your ideas, or perhaps phoning a friend and letting them know about the practice you just did and where you would like to see yourself in years to come, speaking as if it is already happening. If you will it so, it will be so. Thank you all again for sharing your practice with me today. Iechyd.